Fellas, the first conversation that we get when we get a new star in the UFC is, are they ever going to get to the level of McGregor? Now, in my opinion, I don't think any star will ever reach above McGregor level, but with the stars that we've currently got in the UFC, I think a lot of them, and I've chosen 5, have the potential to get massive and become way more popular and way bigger than they currently are. This could be due to, mic skills or how they fight. You'll just see it's different for every fighter, but yeah, I've chosen 5 stars who I think could definitely be improved. Let me know if if I missed out any stars in the video that you think should be added, but the first kind of star I've gone for is Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley, he's a big star. He just kind of came from nowhere, but the guy's been finishing multiple opponents. He's managed to become champion. One of the few kind of hype, people called him a hype job, one of the few prospects that was actually able to become champion. But the problem with Sean O'Malley is that he's got terrible mic skills. As good as he is as a fighter, as exciting as he is in the fight, listen, he's one of the most exciting champions we've got right now. I'd put him in top 3 when it comes to how exciting he is. He's able to get finishes, he's an entertaining fighter. In Octagon, he's entertaining as well, but the problem is his mic skills. The guy's getting outspoken by people like Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling, people that are never recognised for their mic skills in the first place. If this guy wants to get on the same level of McGregor, and to be honest, he said he wants to be, he said by the end of 2024 he's going to be in the same level as McGregor, you've got to improve your mic skills. This guy, he sounds like an edgy teenager who's got hold of a microphone. His trash talk is terrible. He can't trash talk to save his life. He's had multiple press conferences. He hasn't had a single highlight in any of them. I don't know what it is with this guy. He's just allergic to microphones. He's really dull, and I don't see how he's so big of a star considering his mic skills. Like I said, fighting-wise, he's super entertaining, but if this guy was to massively improve his mic skills, get anywhere close as witty as McGregor was, or just have some sort of, charisma on the mic, he could be a way bigger star than he currently is. And he could, bring a lot more hype to his fights than he currently is. But the problem with O'Malley, like I said, it is his mic skills. He needs to improve his mic skills if he wants to get bigger, because as entertaining as he is, no one wants to listen to Sean O'Malley at a press conference. No one wants to listen to an O'Malley interview, because if we were to listen to him on an interview and we want to see his face, it was just an audio interview, we'd think he'd be so boring. He's boring on the interviews. His trash talk is terrible as well. He's getting literally outspoken on Twitter by Ilia Toria. So, in my opinion, Sean O'Malley, if he wants to improve as a star, he needs to improve his mic skills massively. Next fighter, Paddy Pimblett. Now, the one thing that separates Paddy Pimblett to everyone else on this list is, listen, with all due respect, he isn't that good. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's, an overhyped hype job or anything like that, but he's just not champion material like everyone else on this list is, which is, in my opinion, the one thing that Paddy Pimblett lacks. I think he needs more finishes over top-level opponents. He took Ferguson to a decision. Did he dominate him? Yes, but could he have done better and finished him? Also, yes, he nearly did in the first round. Arguably lost to Jared Gordon. His other opponents have been absolute bums in the UFC, so the problem with Paddy Pimblett for me is that he's got a lack of finishes over top-level opponents, and that is the one thing that could turn him into a star. Listen, on the mic, I'm not going to say he's McGregor level, but he can definitely hold his own on the mic. He knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to hype up a fight, especially in the UK. This guy, on a pay-per-view in the UK, it would sell because the guy knows how to speak on a mic. I say that, it's mainly just him calling people sausages, but still, he's better than O'Malley on the mic as well. But he's got a lot of hype around him. He's decent on the mic. He knows how to sell a fight. There's got a lot of people talking about him, but it's the in-octagon performances that lacks around Paddy Pimblett. McGregor in his early days was starching people. You'd have this random German guy, Dennis Siver, getting starched. Now we've got Paddy Pimblett, and he's being kind of given these easy opponents and people like Tony Ferguson. And I'm not saying, he looked bad against Ferguson, but I just feel like he could be doing way better. If Paddy Pimblett, imagine this, Paddy Pimblett, I don't know if it's a pay-per-view or a fight night in the UK, goes against someone like Bobby Green or Jalin Turner, and he manages to either submit them in the first round or finish them in the first round, he would grow in hype so much. Genuinely, just one finish over a top-level opponent is what he needs. So I'm going to say the problem with Paddy Pimblett, and the one reason he's not a star, is because of his in-octagon performances. No one really believes in him like they believed in McGregor, so that's the one critique I'm giving to Pimblett. Next fighter I've got, Khamzat Chimaev. Now, Chimaev, he's not like Chael Sonnen on the mic. He don't really know how to speak English to a great extent, to the point where he's good on the mic, but he's a crazy guy. He knows how to create a lot of energy. He's got this kind of wild personality. He's very charismatic about what he does. He's also an insane fighter, but he's an insane fighter in the first round. The problem with Khamzat Chimaev, and I've gone with 2 things here. The first thing is his stamina. Khamzat Chimaev in the first round is a human highlight reel. You know, absolutely destroying people like Li Jingliang, Kevin Holland. He looked great against Kamaru Usman in the first round, but the second it gets past the first round, I don't know what it is with Khamzat. The guy just loses everything. He just becomes more of an average fighter. He doesn't have the same pace, the same pressure. So I'm going to say the thing that Khamzat Chimaev needs to improve is his stamina. If he wants to get in these title fights and he wants to look good, you can't just look good for one round. When you go against a high-level opponent and they make it out the first round, you've got to be able to have the stamina to do the same thing you did in the first round in the second. And the second critique I'm going to give him is that he needs to fight more often. Khamzat Chimaev right now is averaging one fight a year. He fought in 2022 against Kevin Holland when he was supposed to fight Diaz. Then he took ages off. Fought late 2023 in October against Kamaru Usman. Still hasn't got a fight booked and we're now in January. I mean, yeah, like I said, he has just fought. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev, he's been really inactive these past 12 months, like 12 to 14 months. And this guy needs to fight more often. If he wants to become a star, if he wants to get people's attention and he wants to, you know, start becoming champion, the guy really needs to fight more often. Fighting in 2022 against Kevin Holland and then fighting once in 2023 against Kamaru Usman. He needs to be fighting more. If he wants that belt in 2024, he needs to get... You can't just have this one fight. You can't just have, you know, one average fight a year because he doesn't get a title shot in his next fight. He's still at least one win away from a title shot. So he needs to get at least 2 fights. I'd say 2-3 fights per year. But that's the problem, in my opinion, with Khamzat Chimaev. He's just not that active as a fighter. And yeah, he just needs to improve his stamina because he's got everything else to become a star. It's just the outside octagon performances that's lacking for Khamzat Chimaev. The next guy I've gone with is Ian Garry. One of the most hated guys in the UFC right now, but I think he could definitely turn this into a good thing and become a massive star. If he keeps playing heel, because everyone hates him right now, he's one of the most hated. If Ian Garry keeps playing heel and dominating opponents, it's kind of like the Floyd Mayweather effect, where people are going to pay just to see you lose. Now, listen, maybe no one's paying for this, maybe you're all streamers, maybe you're all streaming the event, who cares? But either way, if Ian Garry starts starching people like Vicente Luque, Jeff Neal, maybe even people higher ranked like, I don't know, JDM or Gilbert Burns, the point I'm trying to make is if Ian Garry can absolutely decimate these contenders like he did with D-Rod, he could become a massive star because he's got everyone's attention. Everyone knows who he is for the wrong reasons, to be honest with you. But if he just keeps playing heel, makes the crowd hate him, makes everyone hate him, and makes everyone watch his fights just, you know, for the chance of seeing him lose, Ian Garry could be a huge star. And it's kind of random as well because he started his career, and I remember people were calling him like the nice McGregor. The whole thing about Ian Garry is that he's kind of like the nice McGregor. And now that he's kind of become, I don't want to say evil, but you know, he's kind of turned heel a little bit and everyone hates him and he's, you know, been a bit more confident on the mic. He could definitely turn that into a good thing and become a big star. So he just needs to keep dominating opponents, keep playing heel. Don't try and make the crowd like you because then you're just going to be, I'm not going to say you're going to become boring, but I think it's going well. The whole heel thing's going well because people are talking about him. So that's the one thing I'm going to say that Ian Garry needs to improve. And the last star we've got is Ilia Toria. Ilia Toria's had a lot of talk with O'Malley recently on Twitter about who's the bigger pay-per-view star. Now, as of right now, I'm not going to say that Ilia Toria is a massive pay-per-view star, but I see a lot of potential in Ilia Toria. Imagine if Ilia Toria goes out there and brutally or shockingly knocks out Volkanovski. Now, I know Islam did it first, so it's not like a complete shock, but if he can go out there and sleep Volkanovski out cold, become the champion, he could become a massive star because Volkanovski's already a big star. There's already going to be a lot of eyes on Ilia Toria. This guy could become the perfect villain in the featherweight division. If he goes out there, sleeps Volkanovski, then starts beating these other contenders like Holloway, Allen, Evloev. If he just starts, you know, finishing these other contenders, he could be a massive star in the featherweight division. And the good, even better thing about Ilia Toria is he's sandwiched between 2 stacked divisions. He's got bantamweight below him and lightweight above him. And I think if he can beat another champion, and I'm not saying he has to go down a weight class because it could be O'Malley moving up. Him versus O'Malley or him versus Islam or whoever the lightweight champ is are both massive fights. Let's say O'Malley, you know, he's had a few defenses and moves up against Ilia Toria. Toria versus O'Malley is a massive fight. And if Toria can beat a star like O'Malley, that's only going to grow him more. And again, if he can get a bit of a resume, and I'm not one of these people that, you know, just love the whole double champ thing, you know, in the UFC where you get one defense then start calling out, you know, different champions. But if he can rack up a little resume at featherweight and then move up and then beat the champion at 155, which is a big if, but if he can do it, Ilia Toria, he's got the potential because he's undefeated as well. He's well-rounded, he's insane of a fighter. Toporia's got a lot of potential to become a big star, and I think if he has the right game plan in the UFC and he plays heel, especially with a shocking knockout over a guy like Volkanovski, listen, Topuria could genuinely become a massive star. So I'm going to say that Topuria, just go out there, put a good performance against Volkanovski, become a villain, run through these featherweights, and then hope that either O'Malley moves up, or if you get a good, get a good little resume at featherweight, move up to 155. But that, in my opinion, is how every current UFC star, or maybe not every current, but how a lot of these current UFC stars could become even bigger, maybe even McGregor level. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think that if you think they have the potential to reach McGregor level, or if I missed out any stars. But yeah, thank you for watching.